Welcome to the Hartford Civic Center in Hartford, Connecticut, and the Ford Budweiser United States Hot Rod Association Truck Pull Winter Championships, featuring the Battle of the Monster Trucks, brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers and proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Hello again, everyone. I'm Bob Kurtz. Along with Mike Galloway, we have a great evening of competition for you. Four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, monster trucks, and the Budweiser boss. There's a lot to look at tonight, Mike.
Gonna be some good competition. Track's a little soft, but I think it's going to work real well. I believe the bite's going to be there. Good class of four-wheel drive modified trucks, some outstanding two-wheel drive trucks. A couple of them are going to be the top contenders here tonight, and then, of course, the Battle of the Monster Trucks, and we'll finish up with Gary Collins and when he comes storming with the Budweiser boss.
Well, you talk about the monster trucks, the king of the monster trucks, Bigfoot is here.
The Foot's here, and it's a new one. It's just one they've just completed. It's got a lot of different changes in it. We'll talk about that a little later on.
And a little bit about Gary Collins.
Well, Gary Collins, the incredible Budweiser boss, the twin supercharged He's probably the most powerful four-wheel drive truck in America. He's tough, as always.
And he'll roar down this 150-foot track here at the Hartford Civic Center. Sounds like a great evening, so stay with us. Bob Kurtz, Mike Galloway, Hartford Civic Center, all set to go now. Four-wheel drive competition. Our first contestant, critical condition. Mark Weeks is the driver. Canterbury, Connecticut, the hometown.
Shotgun Hemi Ford, Bob, one of the motors that was outlawed in a number of racing organizations, but as you know, there's no cubic inch limitation in this class. Let's see how he attacks the track.
Shy of the 150-foot mark.
Beautiful pull, though. One thing he did is might have got in the truck a little bit too early. Probably should have got a little momentum going before he mashed the motor down, but it's a good hook. I think they'll write that one down in the record books, and we'll take it from there.
What kind of track are we talking about here tonight, Mike?
Well, it's pretty soft, and that's why you need to roll with the sled a little bit. Got a lot of moisture in it, but he's getting a good bite on it. Now, you notice going right on down. He's early in the class. It really helps. The track's in a lot better shape. He's got a good hook going for him. He's probably using about all the horsepower he can get. You see the dirt that's coming off the tires. He's getting hooked. He's not digging in a long ways, but he's hooked up pretty good, and I think that's generally about a real good pull for the critical condition truck.
Well, we're in field four.
Now, we told you just shy of 150 feet for critical condition. He measures in at 146.8.
8 inches, 145.
Here in Hartford, we get a lot of drivers, obviously, from the east with a chance to show off their trucks. We're looking at the ground pounder, Bob Hart from New Hampshire.
This is a good running truck. Carbureted truck, and it is tough.
Again near that 150-foot mark.
About 3 times down there, he backed out of the throttle as he went down the track. And what he was doing, trying to slow the tires down just a little bit, let him get a hold of the track, let him get a little more bite. Now watch him. He's on it pretty hard right out of the hole. Breaks the tires loose and starts them spinning. Now, he's hanging out the window. He's getting a real good idea of what the track's actually doing. Right in here, he backs out of it the first time, trying to slow the tires down just enough, let them hook up on the track, and then he does it again a little bit later on. I think it was a good idea. He knew the tires were spinning, and it broke loose and wasn't hooked up quite like you wanted them to. When you back out of the throttle like that, a lot of times those tires will hook up and really rocket it on down.
Talk about the track. Is the track get worse or better as we go along?
Well, I think the track's going to deteriorate tonight because it's soft, and when you put it back together, I think you're going to see a lot of waves and dips in it. I think it'll be uneven surface as the night goes along.
Budweiser measuring crew getting a measurement for us on the ground pounder. What makes the track soft? Why is it soft?
Well, it's the moisture. Of course, they've had a lot of snow and ice in this part of the United States over the last few weeks, and you can't get it all out. You add a lot of lime in it, and that'll dry it out and change it a lot. But I don't think that they could get all the moisture out of it. It makes it rut up a little bit.
Well, the ground pounder comes in over 150 feet at 150 feet, 1 1/4 inches, and he's the new leader. We're in the Hartford Civic Center here in Hartford, Connecticut. As we mentioned, it's the home of the National Hockey League Hartford Whalers. What's interesting is the configurations of the changes in the configurations they've made in this building. I think the fans sitting at home, the first thing they want to know, there's ice underneath here, right?
Yeah, Bob, they don't take the ice out because of the refreezing time. What they do is they go in and lay plywood that covers the ice. Then they come in with visqueen, the thin plastic cover. That'll go all over the plywood, and then come back with another fiberboard on top of it that keeps any kind of oil or liquid getting down to the ice. And when they finish the competition, they'll take the dirt out and then take up all the plywood and the visqueen. The ice will be ready to go.
Where does the dirt come from? And don't tell me outside. You pulled that out of me before. It's frozen. I mean, how do you get it soft?
The dirt is stored, and approximately a month before the show, they will take it into a building and let it set. And at that time, it'll start its thawing out period. And then when it comes in, it's still damp, and they'll add a lot of lime to it, Bob. They put a lot of lime in it for the drying agent, dries the track out, and makes it workable.
And they have to get it out of here, obviously, when the show's over with.
And right outside, immediately following the show, they'll have front-end loaders come in. They'll load it all on dump trucks, go back into the storage for another year.
Other changes here in Hartford Civic Center, they have left the boards in. Most of the arenas will take the boards in, so you get about a 10-foot gap between where the stands end and where the boards start. They've taken the plexiglass out and covered it. It's quite an operation. Talked about a lot of the eastern drivers. Obviously, Gene Fanny Jr. is from the East Pennsylvania, but here's a truck that we see all over the United States, Mike.
I love this truck. It's one of my very, very favorites. Gene Fanny out of Deary, Pennsylvania. As we've said before, he drives one of these on the street and then has converted this one to a pulling one. But the color, still the Army green, but new paint job, no doubt. Under the hood, big horsepower, 512 Chevrolet, and he's really done well. This has been a good year for Gene Fanny in the Golden AWOL truck. He's a good driver. He's young. He's a professional puller. His grandmother and his aunt travel with him, and he is really tough.
Right through the boards and out the door.
Bob Kurtz, there's the first full pull of the night. That's a full pull, and, you know, he had a picture-perfect pull all the way out. He rolled, he mashed the throttle, the truck really hooked to the ground well. A beautiful job for Gene Fanny, and he's already set the pace for a pull-off that'll be coming up.
The Gone AWOL has surged to the lead with a full pull.
Now, Bob, watch the top of the motor with the butterflies, the two round silver objects. Now, see, he's about 3/4 throttle, and there he's wide open on it. When he does that, the tires hook up extremely well. The truck is just launched right, and he is really just jerking it out the door. In all honesty, a fine hook. That young man should be very proud of that Jeep. It's worked well for him. It's a wonderful job of maintaining it.
Gone AWOL in the lead with a full pull. Mike Slater backing up the shadow to the sled.
Well, this is a beautiful truck. This is a 1988 Chevrolet, purchased brand new and converted into the pulling. Now, the injection system we've seen, all of it has been facing the forward. Mike built this one himself. The injection is facing upward. It works real well. This truck is going to be real tough. He can definitely take it out.
If he made it or not, he came close. It looked like he got a slow start.
Well, I think he might meant to leave with the sled like that. I think he wanted to roll it a little bit and then get into it hard and really hook the tires up. Now watch him. Got it cut a little bit, and he brings it out. He's just easing into it. Easing into the throttle. Right there is when you see him open it up and go wide open. And when he does that, he hooks up on all four tires. It's a good hook all the way around. If he's going to be close to the full pull mark, we'll have to wait on our officials to get the exact measurement. And it's an excellent pull for Mike. That big Chevrolet is really hooking up hard, 572 cubic inch. Mike's a big boy. He handles a real tough truck.
The shadow with a strong run.
Well, Mike Slater, after they came back and did the measurement on it, has taken it out. We've got a tie. We're set for the pull-off, Bob.
That mark on the track, 160 feet, which is a full pull here, we understand, at the Hartford Civic Center. Two trucks have done it so far. As we look down the track from the far end towards the sled, all wild.
This is probably one of the biggest cubic inch motors on hand tonight. It is, as a matter of fact, the largest cubic inch with a 604 cubic inch fuel-injected Chevrolet. And Paul's been on the circuit for quite some time. He's a good puller. I've seen him hook a number of times, and he's always there. Right now, the subject is, can you dial in and get a hold of the track, get enough traction to propel it down to the end? Let's see what Bob does.
Gone AWOL has gone for the distance, and the Shadow has pulled it 160 feet. Hog Wild has that in his sight.
Slacks out of the chain, no jerk start. Look what happens to Hog Wild. Look at the box moving up on him. Good up.
Well, some ease into it, and some just let her rip, and Hog Wild let her rip.
He did, and it worked for him tonight, Bob. It did. He hooked up well. You know, it left good. I thought it was an extremely good pull for that truck. And as you mentioned, he doesn't waste any time right out of the hole. Just ease a little bit and then goes wide open.
Might mention here, Mike, about the weight transfer. She doesn't know how. It doesn't matter how fast or how slow you go.
Makes no difference if you go 40 miles an hour or 4 miles an hour. That box will be in the same spot at the 160-foot mark, no matter which speed you're at.
Well, he misses by just 1 foot, 5.5 inches of going the distance. So Hog Wild is now in third place. Missed the full pull, not by much. Well, we have four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, and exhibition competition all going on here at Hartford, Connecticut. And there's one family that has a vehicle in each one of them. Mike Galloway takes a look.
Thanks, Bob. Well, I'm with Pam Bauman and Bob Bauman, and they drive a number of vehicles. Got 3 of them on hand tonight. You've got a 4-wheel drive, a 2-wheel drive, and then you've got an exhibition dragster. Keeps you fairly busy, doesn't it, Bob?
Yes, it certainly does, keeping 3 of them clean and repaired.
Pam, what about you? In the 4-wheel drive, you've done rather well. You like it?
I love it.
How did you get involved with pulling? You've got all the vehicles now, and you've had to start somewhere.
I started out with Yellow Fever, and I just, SRO come out with a 2-wheel drive class. I decided to build a 2-wheel drive, and then I liked the exhibition class, and I built a rail.
Do you want to drive the rail, Pam?
I would.
You'd like that?
Oh, yes, I would.
What about the 2-wheel drive, Bob? You've driven both of them. You've driven the rail. There's a lot of difference in the competition, a lot of difference in the way you drive the 2-wheel to the 4-wheel.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. The 2-wheel drive has a much bigger motor, and you have to not get on the throttle quite as hard as you do the rail.
Now, tonight on this track, is it going to be a situation where you ease the sled out of the hole and then go for the throttle?
Definitely. Ease the sled out of the hole, then gradually get into it, and then about 100 feet, get right on the throttle.
We're going to watch these people. They're going to be very, very busy tonight. The Bauman.
Another truck we have seen at shows all over the country. Pontiac. Here in Hartford, Yellow Fever.
Watch the truck body, Bob. A lot of them have flip-tops. Pam Bauman and her crew have put it on a scissor lift the body completely up, clears the gap, and there sits Pam on the inside of the truck. Kind of like an elevator on the ride up. Very quaint setup, Century Oil and Grease sponsorship on this truck, as many of the other Bauman pulling vehicles. And we talked earlier, they have 3 of them in competition. But Pam taking over the chores on the 4-wheel drive, and I tell you what, she is excellent. She's got a good sense of the track, does a fine job of controlling the truck. She's always a competitor that the guys have to deal with.
Spends a lot of time on the road. I know we saw her at the Indiana State Fair show last year in Indianapolis.
Pam and Bob travel a tremendous amount, and they are in the busing business. They own and lease out school buses in the Saxonburg area. A big injected Chevrolet motor.
Now, what kind of chance does she have of going the distance?
I'd say Pam's got a good chance. Her number's a little late, but I think the track is staying together enough that we can see Pam with a possibility of forcing it into the pull-off.
The order that you go in these events, the order that you pull, predetermined or by the luck of the draw?
By the luck of the draw. When you come in to register and sign up for the night's competition, you'll draw a number out of the pot, and that's the number you'll go to the sled with.
So Yellow Fever, Pam Bauman, all set to go.
She can do it, Bob.
Nice run, but not quite.
Excellent job for Pam. Just a real fine pull, all in all. But I think the number may have hurt her a little bit.
What do you mean by that?
I think that the later part of the class, the track may not be quite as good as it was earlier. And I think the number may have hurt Pam on this, the track conditions. See the tires break loose real quick. She's got a good ground speed. The truck going at a good rate of speed. But right on the end, they're all ending up at about the same 157 area, and the track's real loose there. It's breaking up. There's not enough traction to put you past that. You need the ground speed to kind of float over the top of that 150 area.
Bob Kurtz, Mike Galloway, we have the pull-off now, a four-way tie. And we'll just see which one of these modified four-wheel drive trucks emerges as our winter national champion here in Hartford tonight.
Here's the young man that I would venture to say is the man to beat. Gene Fanny, the M715 Jeep with the 512 motor. He and the Shadow, both of them running real close together. Both of them making good hook. I'd say those are the two dominant ones to watch in the pull-off.
Now they have readjusted the weight transfer machine.
The box will go up the ramp, Bob, much faster this time, transferring it from a rolling weight to a dragging weight, making it harder to pull, stopping it within the limits of the 160-foot track.
So Gene Fanny in Going AWOL has hooked in the sled, and he will be the first to pull.
Black out of the chain, tight chain. Let's see how he attacks the track.
A full pull in the pull-off.
I think what they'll do, Bob, the trucks are hooking up real well. I don't think we're going to see another full pull. I think we're going to see them measure them from here on out.
Well, Going AWOL goes 158 feet 11 inches. Comes up just a foot and an inch shy of that 160-foot mark, and that's after a readjusted sled. So it's going to be very difficult for the other three competitors to match that. Well, the Shadow has its work cut out for it. 158 feet, 11 inches is the mark to beat. A good first run for Mike Slater. We'll see whether he can do it again. There's a strong pull, and here comes the Shadow.
Good shot of Mike. He's got it hooked this time.
Out, but it's not 158 feet 11 inches, so Going AWOL will still have the lead.
Starting line problems on Mike and his truck as he slips off his shoulder harness and removes his racing helmet. Starting line wasn't good to him on that path.
Now the Shadow comes in at 151 feet 1 3/4 inches, well shy of the 158 foot mark, 11 inches. Going AWOL still sits in the lead. Number 3 in the pull-off is the Stopper 84 Chevrolet, driven by Bob King, Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania. Looks like he battled it all the way.
Bobby just nailed the throttle off the starting line. We've mentioned before the starting line rutting up. It's soft. It's not working real well. And I think that is the key to this pull. It really hurt Bob. Immediately on the throttle. Now right here, he never gets enough momentum to build any ground speed. And as you mentioned, he just absolutely has to grind for every foot he gets going down the track. Qualified for the pull-off in fine style, but when he came back in the pull-off, it really hurt him. The starting line, the whole shot just wasn't there for Bob.
Stopper at 120 feet 2 1/4 inches. One last shot at Going AWOL, and it belongs to the Bear, Gary Firmstone, Mount Pleasant, PA.
He's a very consistent puller, Bob. Just always runs right with the pack. Very good driver, runs the track, studies it well. Let's see how he works tonight.
Well, he eased into it, tried the left side of the track, and it didn't work.
Found out it wasn't worth it. Bob, on the starting line area, the track is rutted up so bad, and what they're doing is coming out of it in that rutted area. It's soft dirt there. There's no traction at all, and he cannot get enough ground speed to go on down. Now, there's a good shot of that starting line area. Let's watch him now. A good driver. This young man, Firmstone, very good. Mashes the motor. The tires will not hook. He can't get any ground speed with it. He just fights it. He finally, about the 120-foot mark, just gives up on it. Says it's not going to reach tonight. There's no need of hurting the motor any more than we've already done it. Right in here, you're going to watch Gene Fanny just back out of it completely. Call it a night, 4th place. Let's save the motor and try to run again next week.
Well, Gary Firmstone and the Bear comes in 4th, and there's the winner, gone AWOL. Gene Fanny is our winner champion here in Hartford, Connecticut. And the Ford Budweiser United States Hot Rod Association Truck Pull Winter Championships, featuring the Battle of the Monster Trucks, brought to you by Brislone Engine Treatment. Keep your internal engine parts clean. Kendall Oil, the exclusive choice for many of the nation's top truck and tractor pull competitors. Well, it's the exhibition portion of the program here at the Hartford Civic Center. Alan Gaines in the Midnight Express.
Bob Kurtz, this is a very unusual vehicle in that it is a 4-wheel drive, wheel-standing truck. The 2 rear wheels on each side on the back is where the 4-wheel drive comes in. Twin-blown big block Chevrolet setting out front. A long 1923 model Ford C-cab. And Bob, this truck is all metal and the body is almost totally original. Alan found the truck setting in a barn near his home in Georgetown, Kentucky, where he purchased it. There's the whistle. Watch the front end as he gets ready to go with it. A wheel-standing 4-wheel drive, counts about 1,500 horsepower, or makes that 1,500 horsepower a piece out of the engine, close to 3,000 horsepower.
Just blows it right out the back door.
Front end straight up in the air, all 4 tires on the back, hooked, and Alan mashed the throttle.
Midnight Express, Alan Gaines.
Front end comes up immediately. Look at all 4 tires hooked very hard in the back. Bob, I've ridden in this truck, and the noise sensation is unbelievable inside of it. Look at the shake off of it. It really hooked in hard, and Alan Gaines, a fine driver, does an excellent job. Makes a beautiful exhibition pass with that truck, and it is always exciting to see.
The Budweiser Adventure, and you're looking at Gary Collins, El Dorado Springs, Missouri, in a 1988 Mustang. Gary travels all over the country, works just about every weekend. We've seen him at most of the shows we do. This combined with the Bud Boss.
This is part of the new pulling team for the Budweiser Boss pulling team. This is a new funny car, a beautiful vehicle, supercharged, all aluminum Keith black Hemi setting underneath that fiberglass body. Gary Collins, always a tough competitor. He'll make a wheels-up pass down the track with this one, and it will bark to life. Gary is a fine driver, just an all-around good guy. We'll see him a little bit later on when he comes with that twin-motored Budweiser Boss. Slack out of the chain. Bob Kurtz, Gary, and the Budweiser Avenger really made an exciting pass down the track with the front end in the air. The car was hooked all the way around. The weight box was putting the weight on the top of it. It was a tremendous pass for the beautiful Ford Mustang of Gary Collins. Let's watch him. He turns it loose right out of the hole, and when he does, Gary has got enough traction and enough power to lift the front end in the air and run with that sled down the track. Look at him. Front end up in the air. Only way to guide it's with the individual rear brake, and a beautiful job as Gary Collins makes a full pull in the Budweiser Avenger.
Well, we saw Pam Bauman in the 4-wheel drive competition. This is husband Bob, and that's Pam out front.
This is something brand new that the United States Hot Rod Association is developing. There's about 3 of these dragsters out on the circuit right now. This one with a big aluminum Rodeck in the back of it. Bob and Pam Bauman out of Saxonburg, Pennsylvania. The canned heat car, fully enclosed body, Lexan type bubble setting out in front of Bob. Very long, stretched out dragster. Smoked him right on the end.
That's a display of power.
Beautiful job of driving. The fans just loving it tonight. All right, little trouble getting off of it, then really throttles down. The front end is up in the air, and he is doing a great job. This is a beautiful car. A lot of time, a lot of work. Look at the front end, how high Bob's got it up in the air, and really controlling it well, touches the ground back up again. Cammed heat, an outstanding pull from Bob Bauman. Those people are really into the sport of pulling.
Inspecting the engine, testing the instrument.
Dave Zundell starts it off in the two-wheel drive class.
Steel City Shaker getting us started with the two-wheel drive competition. And for a two-wheel drive truck, I know they've redone the weight transfer machine, but that's a good pull.
They have redone it and made it heavier. They've added 2,000 pounds to the pan so that they'll get a little bit better bite. This young man's only 16 years of age. He is started out early. It's his father's truck. He's doing a great job. He's really into the sport. He's going to be one of the young premier pullers in America coming up very soon.
The Steel City Shaker.
Let's watch Dave as he leaves with the sled, easing into it a little bit, trying to get a little ground speed before he hammers the motor. Now he's into it about 25, 30 feet out. When he does, he could be a little bit heavy on the nose, Bob Kurtz. The front end doesn't get up in the air like it should. A little bit nose heavy on it. It just wouldn't get the power transferred to the rear wheels to make a successful pull of a full pull. It's an excellent job for that young man.
For the Steel City Shaker, it's 145 feet, 5.5 inches. Bob Kurtz, Mike Galloway, the Civic Center, Hartford, Connecticut, two-wheel drive competition. You're looking at the Orange Blossom Special.
Bob, I think he's got a chance at it. He's got a...
Mike, we're looking at a truck here that very well could win this competition. I would say this would probably be the favorite in this class.
That's true, Bob.
Alan Gaines.
Georgetown, Kentucky, a kind of the father in the two-wheel drive class, built one of them years ago before they were ever a class. And he is a very strong competitor. The inside of this truck, Bob Kurt, completely original. They took out one bucket seat, still has all the air conditioner controls, the AM, FM stereo. Beautiful truck. Let's see how he leads the pack.
Alan Gaines, the Orange Blossom Special, Georgetown, Kentucky.
Off he goes. A full pull for the Orange Blossom Special.
Well, Bob, you were absolutely right. A tremendous job on the part of Alan Gaines. I think they're going to go ahead and measure him and give him a distance. I don't think that they're going to see anybody in the pull-off situation tonight with these motors. Alan doing a great job all the way down. I thought he was a little heavy on the nose, but I'll tell you what, it didn't show in the end result. Let's see how he does. Doesn't waste too much time. He rolls with the sled just a short while before he eases into the big blower motor. Now he's wide open. He's picking the tires up a little bit. They're just, the balance on it actually looks just about right. Kind of tapping the ground 2 or 3 times as he goes down the track. Alan Gaines doing a super job, really handling the horsepower well. Not a lot of ground speed, but still he got enough of it to put him out in the lead.
Well, as I told you, Mike, that's going to be an awfully tough truck to beat. Look at that, 163 feet 1 inch.
That's true, Bob, but I feel like there's one other truck here tonight that's got the capabilities of going past that 163 feet and 1 inch mark. I feel like there's another truck in this competition we're going to see that could very well go past the Orange Blossom Special. We'll have to wait and see, and I'll point the truck out to you in a little bit.
Telstar, Bob Bauman. Bauman family in it again.
Carry a total of 3 vehicles. This is their 2-wheel drive. The little S15 GMC Ranger. Big supercharged 572 cubic inch motor under the hood. Really tough. Built a lot different than most of them as it sets quite a bit lower to the ground than most of the 2-wheel drives. Let's watch Bob. Mark to beat a 163.1.
Mighty close, Mike Galloway.
His rear tires ended up in the exact location that the Orange Blossom Special tires sunk. So he is going to be super close to the mark laid down by Alan Gaines. It's definitely one of those deals that you're going to have to wait on a measurement.
Was that the truck you're talking about?
I still think there's another truck that can pull this out.
163.1, the mark to beat.
Look at the front end on the truck. Good transfer, good bite all the way down. Bob is really hooked up well. Right in here's the mark that Alan Gaines. There's where Alan went down just a moment ago. Now, that's where Bob kind of settles in tonight. Let's wait on that measurement. They're close.
67
Well, look at that. Telstar, 167 feet, 5 1/4 inches. So Telstar has surged to the lead. Bill Romsberg, Alberton, PA is home for him, and this is the rice burner.
1987 Toyota. Big block Chevrolet under the hood. Very fine running truck. This truck, this winter, has really came out and ran hard. And he is a top contender right now for the points in this race in the 2-wheel drive class. Slacks out of the chain. Beautiful truck all the way around. Let's see if he can go past the 167 5 1/4 mark. Just couldn't get a hole shot to launch the truck. Couldn't get enough to really get in it hard enough on the starting line to go with. Watch him roll the sled. Not in the motor yet, just breaking the tires loose, still easing into the engine. He may have held back a little bit too long before he got into it hard enough to light the tires up, and that could be the downfall on this pull for the rice burner. A good run, but I think he hesitated just a little bit too long on the starting line area. Balance on it looks good. The front end just kind of floating along, and that's the way you want it. That's the way you want to keep it. Digs down real deep on the end.
And for the rice burner, 148 feet, 7 1/2 inches.
Look at this. Neat machine.
Mike, you have it. There's only one truck left. This is Darth Invader. This must have been the truck you were talking about.
I think this truck possibly can do it. It's a 1987 Chevrolet Aerostar. It's built, driven by George Stinnett out of Grand Blanc, Michigan. It's a 572 cubic inch Chevrolet motor. Set up a little bit different. I believe this truck's got the capability. Now, he spotted the sled a little bit different. He's got the truck headed to the right-hand side of the track. Let's see if it all works out tonight. The Darth Invader, beautiful truck. Just as pretty on the inside as it is on the outside. Beautiful truck.
167 feet, 5 1/4 inches.
That's the mark speed. That's almost out of the stadium, so let's see. He's got a real tough, there's a soft spot on the track at about 40 feet in there. Real soft spot there.
Didn't make it.
Just could not do it. The track is rutted up so bad that there wasn't any traction left for George. Not taking anything away from Bob Bauman. He read the track well. He handled his vehicle well. And he geared it for that situation. Let's watch it where he runs into problems. Now, right in here, you're going to see that soft spot in the track. Tires just really do not ever get a hold of the track at all. George doesn't get any tire speed, and the track is too soft for him. He can't get up on top of it and run the way he should. Good job. Just couldn't make a full pull tonight.
So Telstar is the winner, 167 feet, 5 1/4 inches. Bob Bauman will be crowned winner champion here in Hartford, Connecticut.
Bob and Pam, they deserve a win. Always, they work hard at this sport, and as we mentioned, a beautiful job on the part of Bob. He really had the truck dialed into it.
As we've made our way around the circuit, we've seen a lot of great action. Some of it comes out just the way it's supposed to, and some of it obviously doesn't. Watch this.
But watch this, the Duraliner Giant. I don't think he'll show any mercy. He wants to win this one for the company. Here he goes. Lines up, gets back in shape. He's got to get the front tires up on the cars and off the cars. Here we go. Watch out, watch out. Broke the front tire off of it right here in front of me. He has just destroyed the left front tire. Kurt Dabney has broken the left front tire as it went up in the air and crashed. And look over there on the other side. Look to the other side. The Heartbeat of America has just drove a rear axle out from under that truck. We've got monster trucks laying everywhere tonight. Probably the most powerful four-wheel drive pulling truck in America, the Bud Boss twin-blown Hemi.
Was there ever a doubt? The Bud Boss pulls the sled from one end of the Civic Arena to the other.
Fred Schaefer's going to make the swing. The toys cut off. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, upside down. Fred Schaefer has just flipped barefoot. Let's hope he's all right. Fred's out of the car. Fred's out of the truck. Right there is Fred.
Great to see that he's all right.
Right there, tires bit in, and Fred goes right over on the lid and rolls on over on the top of it.
Generally the main event of the evening, the Budweiser Boss, driven by Gary Collins. A very powerful machine. We saw this thing grab the sled and just about run it right through the wall outside Anaheim Stadium and right on down the freeway to San Diego last winter.
Gary Collins sitting inside like he's got a rider with him. But this is an unbelievable truck. Twin-blown Hemi, pumping out about 1,700 horsepower piece, four-wheel drive. When he goes all the way. Watch out! Parks it right outside.
On his way to Boston.
He really was. You notice, Bob, I don't know whether you noticed or not, but he rolled along the track, just kind of piddling along. got down towards the end, he thought the box is getting heavy. We better go on.
Yeah, you get the idea. He'd go right out the rear end of this arena and drive it all the way home to El Dorado Springs, assuming he could fuel it.
That's correct. Let's watch him. He's got a good hook, and everything's going along pretty good. Gary just looks like he's along for the ride. The weight box is just rocketing up the ramp, transferring the weight over, making it pull so hard.
Talk about fuel. 1 mile, 268 gallons of fuel.
Not exactly
Not enough
the
to get
best.
back to El Dorado Springs.
Right there on the end, mash the throttle, take it right out of the gate. Good job, Gary Collins. Tremendous work.
Well, here come the monster trucks. This is Bigfoot. Gene Patterson is driving tonight. Jim Kramer is here, but Gene Patterson is behind the wheel.
Gene's been driving for quite some time. He's an excellent driver. Kramer's taking a little time off, letting some injuries heal up a little bit. Watch this young man when he attacks the cars. He does attack. Straight up in the air, and I mean over it in style. I thought, Bob Kurtz, that he had just about gone through the roof. Looked like he launched a blue missile. Straight up in the air when he hit the car.
Now we have a local radio station here in Hartford that has sponsored a contest to get some records crushed. Music that they did not care for, so the records are also in among all the debris. And Gene Patterson will make another run at them.
There's some of the records that some of the people were not too excited about. Gene Patterson doing in some of Connecticut's finest used automobiles. Let's hope they're used. Very tight arena, Bob. Not a lot of room to maneuver the trucks around, and they're having a little bit of difficulty getting them all lined up and getting any kind of a run at the cars. But watch this young man when he attacks. He's liable to go all the way over the cars. He got 4 of them, and he could very well fly the whole 4. Got all the safety equipment. He wears a kidney belt. He wears the neck brace, roll cage inside. Watch him. Watch him. Flies over the top of them, destroying the car straight up in the air. Outstanding job, but Bob Kurtz, he was so high when he hit those cars, it was unbelievable.
Many times as you see this show, you're always amazed at the awesome power of that vehicle when you actually are able to be here and see it in person.
Not only the power on it, but you know, they honestly beat this truck. They put it through every kind of test you can imagine, and watch him. It always comes off on top, just flying the colors high. Hit
Smash and then way up in the air.
Look at that. Look how high it got before it landed, just barely catching the edge of that car. Gene taking a beating on the inside, but Gene's into it. He really enjoying it.
Gary Bauer is the driver. Here's the Lone Ranger.
He's out of Ohio. It's a supercharged Ford on a little Ford Ranger. Each tire and wheel probably weighing over 1,200. But watch this young man. He's going after him. Look out. Flying off to the left-hand side. He almost turned it over, but immediately jumped on the throttle. Had to get out of that situation and get it back up on all 4s. A fine job of driving for that young man.
Almost lost it. That's how you recover those things?
You've got to stay on the throttle when they land. You've got to nail the throttle, make them pull themselves out of any kind of problem it would be in. Gary working it around. Now he'll come back to the cars going the other direction. He'll probably line up a little bit closer to the edge. He doesn't want them to get up there and let it drift over to the side like it did on the previous jump. Little Ford Ranger setting up atop those gigantic tires. Watch him. He's got all the speed. He's ready for it. Hits the cars and runs with them. And I believe he just, jumped out of gear for a moment. That's all it did. Little backup wheelie. Thought Gary had broken a transmission when he landed, but it jumped out of gear. The transfer case must have jumped out of gear. There's a good shot of the planetary gears. That takes a load off the center portion of the axle.
Next is the Giant, Kurt Dabney, the driver.
Look at that! Look at that! He just really launched it when he hit the cars on the throttle hard. Dabney doing a great job. And when he hits the cars, and he's going to do backup, and there is, seems like some problems maybe with the front end, because when Bob Kurtz, when he hit that, the rear tires were spinning, but the front tires weren't spinning at all. He's just destroying them, but he's doing it all with rear wheel drive only. The front axle has snapped in two, and he has no front wheel drive. He has no front wheel drive. He does an excellent job on the rear wheels only. Let's watch on this first pass and see when he hits the cars, if he hits the cars in four-wheel drive or does it in two. Hits the cars, nails the throttle real hard, all the way up in the air. The flash bulbs go off. Right there is when he snapped the front end on it and lost all of the front axle drive area. So he just had to do the rear wheels on two-wheel drive only. A good job for the Giant.
Mike, what have we here?
Bob Kurtz, it's half tank and half truck. But watch it when it hits the cars. Never slows down. Runs a military tank setup, a supercharged Chevrolet in it. It's unbelievably maneuverable. Runs about 40 miles an hour. It's probably one of the quickest you've ever seen. And he actually just cuts the cars in two. Not only does he crush them, he can just honestly destroy them in that tank vehicle. It weighs 22,000 pounds. That's where you're getting the awesome destruction from Virginia Beach Beast. Donnie Kessel driving the Virginia Beach Beast, the big supercharged Chevrolet motor, tough back in the back of it, hooks to an automatic transmission and then goes into the tank drive line, and he not only drives over them, he drives through them. What a way to finish.
The Virginia Beach Beast into Butch the Bigfoot, and that's the show tonight here at the Hartford Civic Center.
This is ESPN, the Total Sports Network.
What a night of competition. The dust is still settling here at the Hartford Civic Center. It was everything it was advertised to be. For Mike Galloway, I'm Bob Kurtz, and the Ford Budweiser U.S. Hot Rod Association Truck Pull Winter Championship, featuring the Battle of the Monster Trucks, has been brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers and proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. For all you do, this Bud's for you. This has been a presentation of Bud Sports through the facilities of ESPN.